It's time for Come and Talk It with your host, Michael Cargill, brought to you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. All right, so the Austin Police Department released a warning this weekend. It said, warning, with the UT football game and Austin city limits falling on the same weekend, the influx of football game attendees and festival goers has stretched Austin police staffing to critical levels. So once that announcement was made, complete chaos erupted in downtown Austin, literally. So we had, several little incidences happen in downtown Austin. You actually had a case of a man stabbed in the chest on 6th Street in Natchez. You had a person shot, another person was stabbed in a totally separate incident. Complete chaos. Person was struck by a vehicle in central East Austin. This all happened downtown Austin on Friday night and Saturday night, where we had ACL Festival going on. We have the UT football game. Attendees were downtown Austin. And we also had the soccer game that was going on this weekend as well, so which is happening right now. And so many different things are going on, and it's just complete chaos. Got to be safe out there, because unfortunately, for some reason, I don't know why we're doing this, we're putting the same people in office. So I want to change gears a little bit, and I want to tell you about some candidates that are actually running for office that can change some of the craziness that we're experiencing in this town. We need to get involved in this election and take a look at some of these candidates and decide if you're going to vote for some of these people. Because if we continue to put the same type of person in office, you're going to get the same result. And that is just crazy. That's crazy. So we got to do something different. If you want to increase, we want to have more law enforcement in downtown Austin. We want to fix that budget for our Austin Police Department. We want to have people answering the phone when you call 911. We've got to put someone different in office. We need a different mayor. We need a different city council. So let me bring
Hey.
Yeah. I know. I'm getting off the rails here. But we need to have someone different in that seat. We need to make a change here in Austin. We need to get Austin back to the way Austin was. There's no reason why you can't call 911 and actually get a 911 dispatcher. There's a reason when you call 911, you ask for a police officer should be able to show up if you need assistance. So let me bring into the conversation General Bill Welch. General Welch is running for District 5 for the Austin City Council. General Welch, welcome to Come and Talk It, sir.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to be here with you today.
Absolutely. So you're a general.
Well, retired Air Force Brigadier General, yeah.
Retired Air Force General. Nice. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've lived in Austin, or in the district, in fact, or at least had a home here for the last 38 years. And my wife lived here all the time. The only time I wasn't here is when I was deployed off to the war or when I was serving in Korea for my last 3 years of duty. I'm running here because after 38 years of living in Austin, I'm just so discouraged by the terrible leadership that has shown its face here in Austin. Terrible decisions have been made. Things like defunding the police, which is the direct result of that is the very issue you're talking about, the inability to properly respond to incidents around town, and the terrible decision to open up the streets to camping by people who have very, very serious issues, drugs, alcohol, mental illness. They invade the streets. They're in neighborhoods all around town, making things unsafe, and it's just a continual decline of the wonderful, wonderful quality city that I remember, and I want to bring it back. My whole campaign theme is a return to reason. Let's get back to a reasonable structure on the council and bring in a voice of reason. And that voice of reason is me. Like I say, retired brigadier general, great experience there and leadership and such. I'm also a retired businessman and entrepreneur, having had a number of different businesses here in the Austin area and a long career in business. And now I'm retired. Now I have the time and the experience, a breadth and depth of experience that is valuable to the decision-making processes that go on at the council. And I can bring a nice perspective to the other people, understanding where we need to go to bring our city back to a reasonable quality.
All right, so General Welch, tell me what can we do as far as the homeless problem?
Well, I believe it's, I don't like to call it necessarily a homeless. They are homeless, but they're homeless by choice. These are people with very serious drug, alcohol, mental illness issues. Now, there are people, let's say a single mother who loses her job that may be out on the street. Well, we have good facilities for them, and those people are being taken care of. The ones that we really have a problem with, that we call the homeless, but what they really are people with very, very serious health issues. We need to take care of them in a proper manner. It's not buying hotels and putting them in a hotel room. It's putting them in a care facility that with people who are experts in dealing with the issues that these individuals have. So I say this, I say, let's create a response team and have an immediate response to reports of encampments. That response is made by health professionals that have an understanding of the individual's needs, only supported by police in the event of violence. The police can stand by. It is not a police issue. It's one of mental health and care facilities. So, and then we need to get these people off the street. We need to take them off, put them in a care facility. They leave the care facility, they go back on the street. We take them off, we put them back in the facility. We cannot accept and support and allow a continuation of the type of behavior that's going on our streets today.
Okay. And then, so what do we do with our law enforcement issue? Because there's a problem with not having enough law enforcement. We've defunded the police. We've taken resources away from our local police department because some people feel that maybe we have too many police and they want to handle the problems on their own.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I'm well equipped to handle the problem on my own. In fact, I got my concealed handgun permit with you over at your gun shop here. But we really we need more police on the streets. It was a huge mistake to defund them. It's a terrible mistake to continue to put a lot of negative pressure on our police forces. And what I'd like to do is, and just as an example, I think I did a ride along a couple of weeks ago with one of our officers on the night shift. And when I showed up, the first thing he did is he pulled up on his computer the screen. And on the screen he went, wow, typical night. I go, what's that? And he goes, there are 20 people on hold on 911 for 5 minutes or longer right now. 5 minutes or longer, 20 people. Now, if you have a serious emergency, you're waiting 5 minutes or longer. That's insane. And the reason is it's just not enough 911 operators. Well, we've got to fully staff that. And by the way, those 911 operators right now are working unbelievably hard, impossible jobs where they deal with these terrible issues. They need mental health support. They need more people so that they can have the appropriate amount of time off. Then our officers on the street. All right, here's the next question. I said, well, how are we doing on our manning out here? He says, well, tonight we're doing 2 districts we'll talk about. He says, in one of the districts, normally there would be 8 cars on duty. I go, how many we got tonight? He goes, 1. Holy smokes. I said, well, how about this district that you and I will be in? He says, we should have 12. I said, how many we have? We got 3. I said, my goodness, how do we even cover the minor incidents? The major incidents, never mind the minor incidents, and it's really a problem. One last item, just recently, right in my own neighborhood, in Onion Creek, a very nice South Austin neighborhood, right off of I-35, there's a small shopping center out in front. Well, a strange van pulled in there, just sitting in the parking lot, and one of the store owners reported it as this odd vehicle just sitting out there, and it's kind of a strange guy lurking around.
All right, hold that thought there. I'm going to let you finish that when we come back from the break. Also, want to ask you, are you going to tackle the current money laundering scheme? Not sure what that's all about. We'll find out when we come back from the break. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle, and they are not in contact with your vehicle, and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back, and man, I tell you, I don't even call the police anymore because it's going to be forever, holding on the phone, trying to get a dispatcher, talking to the 911 dispatcher there. It's going to be forever, trying to get a police officer because there's not enough law enforcement in this town. So we just document at this point, and we're, Central Texas Gun Works is located right there in the heart of Austin, Texas. We're on Ben White between South First and Congress. So we just stop calling the police and we just deal with it ourselves. So take a look at this right here. So this happened at 4:00 in the morning in our parking lot. Random people just showed up in our parking lot completely high and almost to the point of ODing in the parking lot, just walking around, randomly walking. You have to go to Facebook. You got to go to YouTube and take a look at this video. And we just recorded this. These are different people, random people at 4:00 in the morning, just in our parking lot. It's crazy. It's not even Halloween. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's the drug that's around right now.
Meth?
No, it's not meth. It's something that they're lacing things with. I don't even know. Come on, somebody help me out. They're lacing
Crack?
No, fentanyl. That's right.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
it's
bad
just.
stuff.
Oh yeah, it's just, man, and people are dying from this stuff, and we just have people just showing up in our parking lot, just wandering off the street into the parking lot, don't even know where they are, not even making any sense at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. Nothing's even open at that time frame, and they just wander in, and this is where we are today. This is the heart of downtown Austin, and it is completely out of control. This is This is what city council has done to us. This is what our mayor has done. This is the situation they put us in. So
Hey.
let me bring into the conversation another candidate that's running for office, who's running in District 3, and that is Esla Wishner, who's running for Austin City Council District 3. Esla, welcome to Come and Talk It, sir.
Hey, how are you doing, Mike? Thanks for having me here. Yes, my name is Asla Wishner, and I'm running to be your council member for District 3.
All right, so
Austin.
Esla, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you want to do for District 3.
Well, I lived in Austin for 4 years. I lived in District 3 for 4 years. I'm an Air Force veteran. I used to be stationed in Laughlin Air Force Base, where you see the open borders at right now. But, I came to Austin and loved the city originally. It was a great music scenery, local small businesses, and it was extremely safe. And over the number after COVID, I got my stuff was getting stolen. People weren't driving properly. It got a little dangerous, and I want to do something to fix it.
Okay, and so what do you how do we fix the homeless situation? Because I think you had a plan for it.
Right, right. So my homeless situation is, I'd say it's more like a common sense base. So I used to volunteer for Haven for Hope in San Antonio, Texas.
Hmm.
So one of the things I used to ask people was like, "Hey, how do we help the homeless people?" So most of the time, when we hear about homeless people, we think about the people on the street. But you got to see the difference. There's a difference between people that are on drugs that just they love drugs more than they love each other or themselves. And there's other people that have unfortunate things happen to them, like their house burned down or something else happened. They just need a means to get by until they get back on their feet. That's exactly what Haven for Homeless does. They help these people that, maybe people that just get out of jail or the people that their house burned down. They get them in. They make sure that they get back to the job market. They help them find jobs and everything else. So also they let people in that have drug addiction issue. They give them chances, but after so much, they can't really help them anymore because no one can help people that just don't want to help themselves eventually. So I want to bring a organization like Haven for Hope for Austin that can deal with all that. Also, maybe help some other organization like a nonprofit organization that actually can tackle the people that are addicted to drugs. See
Hmm.
if it actually give results. If it doesn't give results, we'll move on to a different organization. There's plenty of example of these organizations, Georgia and other states in the United States.
All right, and there are other candidates that are running in this race also, and you're kind of young, so why should we give you our vote?
I am young, and the difference is that there's a lot of young voters that are mad. A lot of these young voters are brainwashed. They don't know anything different. They think cops are bad. It's just because our schools, Facebook, Instagram, social media, they have censored all this information. So these young voters have no idea what is going on. And me being young, I have an understanding how these young people think. And I want to give them the actual materials so they can actually open their eyes so they can see that they don't know the full truth behind what's going on. So I want to talk to the younger base along with the older audience to really give them all the materials they need in order to see who they're voting for, why they're voting for. They're not voting on based on lies.
All right, and then what about the issue of man, my property taxes is going up, is increasing. Also, my renters, people that are renting are having to pay this high amount of money for rent. Back when I first moved to Austin back in the 1990s, man, it was nice. I can find a place to live for like 700-800 bucks. Now you're looking at 1,500 to 2 grand.
Right, right. I'm someone that, I pay apartment complex, living rent. I also did the student housing. So I know that having high property taxes and over in Austin, everything just gone up dramatically. So one of the things that I kind of already start doing is that I'm trying to contact all these renting property companies and see if we collectively gather, if the council members like me were to get elected along with a good, great mayor candidate were to get elected, I want all of us to collectively together try to tackle down all these organizations that owns these rental properties in Austin and see if we were to lower the property taxes down, would they actually lower their rent prices down? Now, if they don't want to lower their property taxes, well, I'll talk to some of the other apartments, see if they want to lower their property taxes. Then I want to make it public to force these other companies to lower their rent prices because these other people are, lowering their property taxes. So I
Okay.
really want to come up with a solution to that way to tackle the property taxes.
All right, General Welch. Someone asked a couple things here. So one, I want you to address the issue of the money laundering. I think he was talking about
Hotels.
yeah,
Yeah.
hotels, the city of Austin buying hotels. And then there's another question someone asked, city council cut APD's budget by 150 million in 2020. And then they approved the highest APD budget ever of 442 million in 2021. So how are they defunded again is what they're asking for that second question. But go ahead. The first question of the money laundering scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely familiar with exactly what went on in this situation, but should I be elected to the city council, I would like to know more detail, I assure you. It's been a problem in the past. I can tell you that there have been examples of the city acquiring office buildings from, friends or whatever, back when the office market was in the tank. And now here we have these hotels that were purchased, and the price that was paid is pretty exorbitant. And so it raises questions. Why did we have to pay so much money for a hotel that really wasn't functioning very well as a hotel? And you want to turn it into a quote, homeless facility. And I think there's some real good reason for question there. But that's part of what I want to do. It's called accountability. It's raising the issue, saying, tell me more. Why did we do it this way? Why did we pay the amount of money that we paid? And holding city staff accountable for the decisions that are made of this nature. But on the second score, what refresh my memory.
All right, so City Council cut APD's budget by $150 million in 2020, then approved the highest APD budget ever of $442 million in 2021.
And the question is, did they...
How are they defunded again?
Right, and even if they are fully funded, it's not allocated in a manner that makes it truly efficient in terms of getting more officers on the street. And here's what we have to do. There's a modeling process that was put together by the... the Greater Austin Crime Commission worked together with the Texas A&M, and they developed this modeling process where they can determine more accurately, not just a number of officers per thousand, but more accurately in terms of the type of crime that are committed in different parts of town, and allocate properly resources to deal with that type of crime. We need to be more in tune with that and make sure that we're hiring the officers necessary to get in there. But here's the thing. We can want to hire hundreds and hundreds of new officers. We could have the budget for it. But unless we support our police, unless we're standing up for them and saying, we recognize the difficult job you have, unless we get off the backs of these young men and women who are out there defending our community every day, and stop saying you need greater scrutiny on every element of every part of the job that you do, and unless we understand that sometimes dealing with crisis like they deal with is a difficult process, and it can oftentimes inflate into a serious incident of violence, right? Well, we can't just tear them apart for having to respond to that also back with violence.
All right, when we come back from the break, we'll finish that thought. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
Man, on Esla, you're running for City Council District 3. You know, the Austin Police Department, they're trying to, I guess, get cadets into the next academy, and it's been kind of hard on them. It's been hard because the city leadership, stopped, I guess, did something and stopped the cadet classes or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Right. So, the police been asking for help a very long time. They never had proper training, and even the cadet classes are way too short. So all these cadets, they've been asking, hey, we need better training. We need better training so we can actually de-escalate a lot of these situations properly. And the police never had enough funding for it. And also, over the time frame, everyone was talking about how bad the police officers are. People are afraid to join the police forces anymore just because they're just afraid to do their job, especially when a lot of these police are getting indicted for listening to the orders that are given by supervisors. So when you hear all these negative things about the police officers, people don't really want to join the cadet classes anymore. So we need to bring the morals back. We need to make sure that police members are being treated properly and, incentivize a lot of these police members to join the police force. Now, to do that, we got to make sure that our district attorney is not, mishandling these police officers, indicting these police officers for doing their job. So we need to make sure they're safe, incentivize them to join the police academy, extend their training, give them the materials, and reallocate the money back to the motor area, the highway traffic that's all been disbanded. So we need to give all the money back to the proper areas that it always had. That's one of the reasons crime is really high. Even though the money's gone back in, the money went to different areas that doesn't really need that much money. The money needs to go back to the areas that it used to be, the DWI units or the traffic violation units, the park units. That's where the money goes to. So we need to rehire police officers, more extended training, and give them a bonus, just like how they do in the Air Force. In the Air Force, if you want to be a policeman, you give them bonuses. So bring bonus program, get the better police people back on force, give them a better pay raise. So I think that's one of the best ways we can do to bring the academic trainings back and the cadets.
All right, let me play devil's advocate then, because I like jumping on I-35 and going from North Austin to South Austin and getting there by 15 minutes right now. So I'm fine with not having police on the highway.
Well, you know what? It's fun when you say that. Yesterday I was driving. This guy just stopped right in the middle of the road. I almost got into an accident. There was this other guy. There was an 18-wheeler that was driving, and this other guy that was left to it, he wasn't going straight. He just decided to stay right next to it, driving extremely slow, and there's just so much traffic behind. Only thing I want to do is get out of my car and just punch the window or something like that. But the thing is that we don't need like that. We don't need citizens like me or anybody else to become the law enforcement. We need to actually hire police officers so they can do that, so the citizens don't have to be police officers. So we need to have it back. That way my car insurance can go down because I'm so tired of paying so much for car insurance. So more police officers mean our car insurance will reduce because we have less crime and less police violations or car accidents on the road.
Okay.
Well, maybe it's time that we stop relying on police officers to, handle issues for us.
Well, you know what? I would, everybody would love that idea, but obviously everyone is very different. We all want to do the right thing, but there's always bad actors, bad players. I used to be a troublemaker in school. I used to break the law. So, but when there's a police officer out there, you know what? I'm afraid to go to jail. I'm afraid to not get a job. So just having authority there makes me actually want to behave as much as I can. Yes, I might break the laws on the side, behind someone's back, but at least majority of the crimes would stop just because there's a force out there that might actually get you in trouble.
And then playing devil's advocate, what do you say to those people that say, hey, for the longest, police officers are not held to any type of standard at all. And so now the system is kind of correcting itself by holding them to a higher standard and holding them accountable. What do you say about that?
There's always bad actors on every level. Just because one or two people do something bad does not mean that everybody else need to get punished. For example, you're in classroom and your teacher makes a mistake. The best teacher that you have just make a grammatical mistake or mathematical mistakes. Everyone's always makes the fun of the teacher. Are you going to fire that teacher? No. The teacher learns the mistake and the teacher will do better. So you can't just go after all these police officers for one or two mistakes that they might make. They always put their life on the line every single day, and they see so many different situations. Sometimes they get panic. We're human beings. We're not a robot. We don't need to just go after these police officers like that. Obviously, they need better training. We need to give them better safety equipment to handle their trainings better. We just can't fix that. We don't live in a utopia.
Okay. Bill?
Interesting question you posed, Zach. But I'm not sure I can support the concept of getting rid of police and letting us all arm up and cover ourselves. But what I do support wholeheartedly is being prepared. That I think it's important. That's why I took Michael's course at the gun shop, the concealed carry law. I wanted to understand what the rules were that were associated with my carrying a weapon, all right? When I can use it, when I should use it. But I don't want to be the police officer. I don't want to be responding to my neighbor's house up the street, my immediate neighbor's house. I've already chased burglars off. But, running up the street to break, somebody's breaking in and I'm the guy that has to respond. I don't want it to be like that. I want to know that we have a police force that can be there in reasonable time to take care of their needs. So while I understand where you're heading, I also think that it's important that we maintain, as Esiel says, a deterrence, a visible force in the community that says, if you do something wrong, I will be there to catch you and to take you to justice. Of course, it's important, as he pointed out as well, that we have a prosecutor that's willing to prosecute them instead of turning them back onto the street. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm coming from on that score.
And I hear they got rid of the police monitor from that office now. I tell you, they need to hire someone for that job. I'll take that job. I'll be the police monitor because I think I can be a fair person that can look at the civilian side of things and the law enforcement side of things and actually come up with the best answer for a type of situation without leaning either one way or the other way. I think some of the ways that we can, that the police department can help themselves is not sending so many police officers to a particular call. For example, when there's a call that goes out, I don't think we should send 5 cars or 4 officers to that one particular call of a traffic stop or a DUI stop or whatever it is. It takes one car to answer that call, and if something arises from that, then they call for backup. I think they're responding with too many officers, and that way they can spread themselves out a little more. I do think that we need to make sure that we have the same amount of officers. We need to increase the amount of officers per capita for people in the city. I don't think that we're growing the police department as fast as the city is growing. And that's a problem on the city's part. That's the mayor, the city council's issue there. So there's some things that we can do, both police department and city council, to fix the issues that we have here. And no one's talking to each other. They're actually talking past each other. And I think that's what the issue is. I think we need to have a civilian oversight where we hold police accountable, where they actually are prosecuted when they do something wrong, because they shouldn't be held to a lower standard than our regular civilians. They should be held to a much greater standard because they are law enforcement. They're trained law enforcement officers, and they know right from wrong. As a commercial driver who has a commercial driver's license, I'm held to a much higher standard. If I get a DUI, matter of fact, if I get stopped and my alcohol content is 0.04, I think it is, and you have a commercial driver's license, you're going to be held to a much greater standard than someone with a regular driver's license because you're a commercial driver, even if you're in your regular vehicle. So you're held to a much greater standard because you are a commercial driver and you should know better because you're a trained driver. We should do the same thing for law enforcement. We're not holding law enforcement to those standards. So there are things that we can do on the city council side, the mayor side, the things we do on law enforcement side. We're not doing that at all.
It's important, though, to train to that higher standard. And as Cecil pointed out, and he's exactly right, there wasn't enough money to provide the proper level of training at the beginning, the amount of time for training and the quality of training, and then the recurring training that is necessary to keep the quality of the force at the highest possible level. So we want a very well-trained, well-equipped, properly equipped professional police department. It's important to have them out there, and it's important to have visibility. But I wouldn't go with you all the way on getting rid of the police and letting us take care of the problem.
Yeah. I wouldn't get rid of them. We definitely don't need to get rid of. We need more police. I'll be honest with you. We need more.
Now, on your point about the oversight committee. Now,
Yes.
there are some organizations like the Office of Police Oversight, or I believe there's another entity that are pretty much entities like Office Oversight Committee. So pretty much some of these organizations already exist. Maybe we need to help these organizations to be able to monitor some of these bad police actors.
I think that they don't have power. They exist, but they exist with no power. They have no authority to do anything. You can show up at a scene. Let's say there's a officer involved shooting. So everyone shows up. Someone from the mayor's office or city council shows up. Someone from the oversight committee or police monitor's office shows up, and someone from internal affairs, whatever, shows up. But no one has any authority to do anything except the police. The police chief. And then once you get the union involved in that, let's say the officer did do something wrong. It takes a lot to get rid of an officer. There's a whole drawn out process when it comes to that, and it should not be that difficult. It shouldn't take an act of Congress to get rid of a police officer, and that's almost what it seems like sometimes when they actually do something wrong. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think that's a matter of perception rather than reality.
Okay.
First of all, is the first line of review, as you point out, is the police chief. There is an oversight function that takes place, and the chief has the ability to turn review of very serious issues over to a bigger group of people that can look at it and provide feedback back to the city manager and city council, so that the accountability and to do something about it comes from this. When the report comes back and you find out that there was an excess force applied or an unnecessary force or improper behavior was applied, the city council, if the police chief does nothing about it, the city council has the authority to go in and force the police chief to do something or leave the job. And that's what we have to do. So you hold the people who are responsible for it accountable to do the job that they're supposed to do.
But they can't fire the police chief.
Who can?
The city council.
They can tell the city manager that by vote that it's time to get rid of the city police chief. And if the city manager refuses,
it's up to the
city manager. And if the city manager refuses, you fire the city manager. So I'm telling you, there is an accountability that can be had. And but what we have to be careful of is that the accountability comes from the right persons. And you made a very good point. You would be good on a oversight committee, right? Oversight commission, because you have that experience. You have some background in law enforcement, but you also have a perspective as a civilian as to what the expectation should be. The proposal that's going to the table today that we may see on the ballot in April says that they want to create an oversight commission, and the requirement will be that no one on that commission can have any relationship whatsoever, past or present, to law enforcement. Well, that's insane. These are people who don't understand what the job of a law enforcement professional is. That we're going to say you're going to pass judgment on the quality of the work that somebody does out on the street. I think that would be a mistake too. You're right. We should have quality people available for oversight to review and to provide quality input and report back to the police chief, the city manager, and the city council. And then accountability comes through the process that we talked about earlier.
This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Hi, this is Stephen Williford, the Barefoot Defender. I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
Man, I got to talk about some gun news here. So let's go around just a little bit. Let's go to Colorado real quick. So over in Colorado, there's an assault vehicle. Yeah, exactly, an assault vehicle. It was a vehicle that committed an assault.
You're talking about an assault amphibious vehicle?
No, not well, it could be.
An AAVP 7A1?
No, not that. No.
It's not a Marine.
No, so somebody jumped in a vehicle and decided to run over several people on a sidewalk.
Oh, that's an assault vehicle.
That's an assault vehicle? Okay.
Assault is a verb.
That's right. So one person's dead, 7 others injured after a driver plowed a pickup truck into a group of people outside Colorado Bar and Grill early Sunday in what authorities suspect was an intentional act. So driver Ruben Marquez, 29, was taken into custody on charges including murder after allegedly fleeing the scene of the Rock Rest Lodge in Golden, Colorado, there in a Chevy Silverado just after 1:30 a.m. in the morning. And that's a similar situation that happened, here in Austin. I tell you, man, this weekend was pretty crazy. But let's go over to Arizona. We're enough about Texas. Arizona, it is a thing. And I tell people, you're going out on dates and stuff like that. Even if you're going out, you carry your gun. You definitely should carry. I tell people, you're meeting people in random places, you're buying gifts or buying things from individuals like a cell phone, or you're buying some product they're selling online. A good place to meet this person to exchange the money and get the thing that they're selling, the item they're selling, is a gun store. But people don't do that. So let's talk about dating a little bit. Arizona man shows up for a Tinder meetup and he gets robbed by armed couple. So, man, I know you're going out on that Tinder date. You're meeting someone. Instead of going straight to the hotel room, meeting someone in the hotel room you never met, you might want to meet in public first. Just use your head. In public, at a place maybe people that know you. So that way, in case something happens, they can say, hey, well, he was with this person right here. You got to be a little smart when it comes to some of this stuff. And I always carry my firearm. Yes, even the bed. Zach, you carry your gun to bed?
To bed?
Yes, to bed.
I mean, not into
You
bed.
didn't want to answer that question, did you?
Close enough, though.
That's right. That's right. I have my shower gun. I have my my bed gun. That's right. Always.
That's your toilet gun?
I got my toilet gun. That's
Is it
right.
also the shower gun?
No, it's separate from this shower
Different
gun.
one? Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a different one. Toilet gun and the shower gun. That's right. There's a sofa gun. There's a, kitchen gun. There's that's right.
Better have that Marine Magnum for the shower.
There's a laundry room gun. Yeah, there's a gun, everywhere. Yeah, yeah. It's like I when people, kids come to visit, like you have some kind of little family, get together. I say, hold on, you guys need to give me 45 minutes to an hour. I got to clear the guns out and lock them all up because I have guns everywhere. I want to make sure kids don't have access to the firearms. So I have to take 45 minutes to an hour, lock them all up, and then allow the kids in the house. That's how we
You're
have
responsible.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be responsible. And I believe in personal protection. Even when you're on dates and things of that nature, you got to be smart. Code words are very, a very good thing to use. You're going out on a date, you're meeting someone, let's say you're a realtor and you're going out to meet a customer, and it's smart to meet that person in the office, take a picture of their ID, maybe send it to someone along with their contact info, their phone number or something like that, and then have a little word in your phone that you can text in case there's an emergency when you're going out and showing this person different properties. It's very common for real estate agents to be sexually assaulted while they're out showing properties. Very common. People don't like to talk about that. It's very common for business owners to be robbed or followed from the bank or their business while they're going to the bank or from the bank or to their house, and robbed. They force you to go to the ATM. They force you, to go to the bank or whatever for one reason or the other to take money from you. So it's a very common thing. So we got to be smart when it comes to these things. Don't take the same route. Don't do the same routine. You're out dating. Take your gun. Be smart.
Don't go straight to her hotel room.
Yeah, you're going to get what you don't want to get.
So it was her and another man were waiting for this Tinder date to show up in the hotel room.
Jose and Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
They were both arrested in connection with robbery after several days on the run. Man, and they're a runchy little bunch too, boy. Ooh. You see the picture? You see her picture?
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, definitely got to pass on that one. The victim was then ordered to drive the suspects to a nearby Chase Bank. The suspects left with the vehicle. Victim stated that $900 was taken from the Chase Bank on September the 17th from the drive-thru, and a total of $3,000 had been taken from his account since the initial incident. So very, very crazy. Very crazy situation. Got to be aware of your surroundings at all times, and don't let the little head think for the big head. Just saying.
Yeah, and there's another similar story. Well, not exactly the same, but some crazy young lady lured her Tinder date to her house and then tied him up with duct tape and choked him and slashed him with a knife.
So you really can use duct tape for a lot of different things.
Yeah, if you wrap it enough times.
Wow.
You got to be really strong to get out of that.
No,
But she beat him up a little bit, slashed him, choked him, and then she ordered DoorDash.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious? And that's how she got caught.
Nope. And she told the guy, hey, if you scream and try and alert this DoorDash driver, I will kill you.
Wow.
And so he didn't. And then she ate, and then she got into bed with him. And only when she fell asleep did he get up with his hands tied. I don't know if his feet were tied, but he got to the parking lot of the apartment complex, and that's where police picked him up naked.
Wow. And that's how she got
naked, tied up.
Wow.
Or taped up.
Crying like a little baby. Wow. Well, see, you need to go to Krav Maga. You need to go to Muay Thai and learn how to defend yourself. I'm sorry. I'll stop laughing.
Or
Poor
just
guy.
carry a gun, right?
Poor guy. Yeah. Well, no, the gun's not for everybody. So there's Muay Thai. There's Krav Maga and things of that nature also. Man, a Florida man shot himself. Florida man shot at homeless family and 5 in a car. You see that story? That's a weird story. So a Florida man has been arrested after investigators say he opened fire on a homeless family of 5 who were sleeping in their car at a park in Tampa. Christopher Stammet Jr., 21, is facing 6 felony charges following the shooting that unfolded around 4:30 a.m. Wednesday on the 2200 of North Oregon Avenue there in Tampa. So
he hit the pregnant mom in the head with one of the bullets.
Wow.
But she suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
Oh, man. Very sad situation there. I don't even know how you can avoid something like that. And you have just, you're sleeping in a vehicle, because you're homeless. And this guy just randomly picks you as the next victim. That's just insane, crazy.
Is it crazy or is it evil?
That's evil. That definitely is evil. Mm-hmm. Evil like this next story, the machete. Machete-wielding robber may be linked to 9 cases on Runberg Lane here in Austin, Texas.
Right here?
Right here in
With
Austin,
a machete?
Texas. Austin, Texas, baby.
Ooh.
Authorities think that 9 robberies along Runberg Lane in Austin, Texas over the past month could be linked to one machete-wielding man who investigators are hoping can be identified with the help of witnesses. The man, who's described as possibly being in his mid-30s, standing between 6 feet and 6 feet 10 inches tall and muscular, had a machete, a firearm, and a bat throughout the string of robberies between September the 9th and October the 4th, according to Austin police. He wore dark clothes and a face covering in all of the crimes and sometimes wore gloves, according to the investigators. All 9 robberies took place along adjacent to West Runberg Lane, stretching from the east side of Monarch Highway all the way to Northgate Boulevard to west, according to the authorities there. Man, so he was, good Lord. That's pretty intense there with a machete.
Most of the victims are Hispanic or non-English speaking. So he's possibly profiling, I think.
And this all plays into what we're talking about here. We're talking with, candidates that are running for city council. We're talking about making changes to our city. We're talking about doing something different, not putting that same type of person with the same mentality in that position. We're talking about doing something different. And we're talking about, reinforcing our law enforcement, holding them accountable. We're talking about, increasing the amount of police officers that we have on the street per capita for the amount of people that we have in this city. The city of Austin is growing fast. It's growing faster than we can keep up. But we got to make sure that our police force is also growing and our resources are growing as well. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Coleon Noir, and you're listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
He didn't act that way. He never flinched. He went for his pockets, and when he went for his pockets, I thought my heart was going to stop. I mean, Hi, my name's Jerry. The incident we're going to talk about took place in early March of 2017. Started back about 3 years ago. We had a fella in the neighborhood that nobody really knew. We weren't familiar with him, and he was pretty regular about speeding up and down the street. It escalated into more speeding, threats. He chunked some rocks up into the yard and broke my windshield in my truck, and it escalated from that into death threats. And he was constantly chirping about how he was gonna end it and he was gonna kill so-and-so, he was gonna kill me, and it was all chirping. The day of the confrontation, I was leaving the neighborhood and heading to a meeting downtown Fort Worth. It was a beautiful day, I had my windows down, I was in my Suburban. As I was heading out, just about to leave my neighborhood, this guy comes into the neighborhood, sees me coming out, pulls into my lane, causes me to stop, and then he kind of cut at an angle in front of me and jumped out of his truck and ran at the side of my Suburban, saying, "Today's the day you're gonna die, he's gonna end it." He comes over and he's slamming his hands up against the side of my vehicle, my truck. But he's screaming at me, telling me he's gonna kill me, he's gonna end it, this is the day I'm gonna die. He reaches in to try and open up my door. I grabbed my weapon, I put my weapon right at his chest at the window and told him to get back, told him to get the hell back. And he never did. He never moved, he never changed anything. He went for his pockets, shuffling into his pockets, and he pulls out his cell phone. I drove off around and called 911 before I got to the end of my street. Yeah, I've carried a weapon for pretty near 20 years, and I've never had to pull my weapon out. Now, I can tell you that when you do that, it's the emotions are incredible. You feel the flush come through your body because you just pulled a weapon on somebody, you're pointing a gun at somebody, and they don't move. And that's a whole nother, I mean, they didn't say, whoa, I'm stop, like anybody that you'd think would do that, but he didn't act that way. He never flinched. He went for his pockets, and when he went for his pockets, I thought my heart was going to stop. I mean, I was actually told that if he would have pulled out a gun, he'd have shot me before I could have actually pulled the trigger, and that's pretty awakening. I contacted Texas Law Shield and spoke with them, and got a statement that I wrote, and I turned it in the following day. And it was subsequent to that I was told that I was going to be arrested for deadly conduct, and Texas Law Shield stepped up to the plate, and they got in my corner and handled it from there.
Factually, the case was unique because Jerry never got out of his vehicle, but was still forced to pull his weapon and defend himself. And you don't see that often. Usually, a self-defense case, both people are outside the vehicle.
They ended up arresting me. Texas Law Shield got me out in a matter of a very few hours. They called me on a regular basis and stayed in touch with me and kept me up to speed on what the progress was, but the delays took about 1.5 years before we got to trial.
Being this other person was the aggressor, and Jerry never getting out of his vehicle.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
Let's go over to North Carolina. So a gunman has been identified as a 15-year-old Austin Thompson. He shot his 16-year-old brother, James, dead. He then murdered Susan Carnetz, 49, Nicole Connors, 52, Mary Marshall, 35, and an off-duty police officer, Gabriel Torres, 29. Nicole's husband, Tracy, was found her dead in the street along with their dog. He also shot the dog, which had also been I guess he shot the dog right in the middle of the street there. And witnesses said Austin looked like a baby. They thought he was 13 years old, but he's actually 15.
He shot the dog.
He shot the dog.
And murdered 5 people.
Mm-hmm. He's 15 years old. At 15, you can't buy a gun at 15.
So he shot a neighbor that was walking her dog and then shot her dog?
And he was dressed in camouflage while carrying a long rifle. Police have not yet revealed the gunman's motive, and it's unclear how he obtained the rifle. And he is in the hospital now. So let's take a listen to the 911 call.
47 seconds. 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Hey, Osprey Cove Drive.
Osprey Cove Drive?
That white girl just came through with a shotgun and shot my buddy. Get here ASAP.
Yes, sir. We're going to go ahead and get some help out there. You said he's been shot?
Yeah.
You said it was with a shotgun?
Yeah. He was walking with camo on. He went back to the News River Trail.
Walking. He was wearing camo?
Hey, shoot another people.
Okay. Okay, just one moment for me, okay?
People.
All right, we're getting everyone out there as quick as we can.
Osprey Cove, it's an officer. He works for y'all. He works for y'all.
You said it's an officer?
Yeah, it's an officer. Hurry up, please. It's an officer. We need to go out here ASAP.
We're getting officers out there as quick as we can. What is he wearing?
A white car.
You said he's in a white car. What is he wearing?
Yeah. He's in a cul-de-sac. Please.
Okay, listen to me. What kind of clothing is he wearing?
The shooter? He's on camo. The shooter has on all camo. He's on camo.
Is he white, black, Hispanic, or Asian?
He looks like he's like 16. sure he was about probably. Okay, we're getting help out there right now, okay? Are you with the person who's been shot? Yeah. Did you say the attacker's still nearby? Yeah, he's on the Noose River Trail. Hey, just take the baby in the house. Just a moment. Hey, and off camera with a shotgun. All right, just one moment.
Now, we talk about this stuff in our Likes to Carry handgun course all the time. It's important that when you're calling 911, you got to be a good witness. You gotta try to talk calm as possible. I know it's very traumatic in what you're experiencing, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, but you got to give that dispatcher clear information. You got to be able to tell them your name, your address, what's going on. They need to know who the bad person is, what they're wearing, what they're doing, and you got to be able to, relate that information as clear as possible so they can get police there without having to repeat, and ask you that same question over and over again. Because you see that, you hear this, it's very hard to understand what this guy's saying. He almost confused the dispatcher because dispatcher say, "Well, oh, is it a police officer?" Didn't know, where it was going with that. So you kind of, a police officer actually was shot, an off-duty police officer was shot, but you couldn't understand that, in the 911 call. And so you couldn't understand the fact he said he shot the dog. He shot another lady. He shot other people as well. He shot a kid as well. Couldn't understand that, in that call. So you got to be able to speak real clear and be a good witness and give them the information so they can get police there as quick as possible. And so that when police arrive at the scene, they know what they're expecting. They know what they're going into. They want to know, exactly who they need to go to as far as the bad person, who they need to direct, paramedics to as far as who's injured. It's important that you give them that clear information. And we talk about this all the time in the class, in the firearm safety course, because usually when police arrive at the scene, they don't know who you are. They don't know you're the homeowner. They don't know if you're the bad guy, the good guy, the homeowner, so it's important that, one, you don't have a gun in your hand, because they don't know who you are. So we talk about all that stuff. So be that good witness. What do you guys think? What do you think, Zach?
I mean, those are wise words. Yeah.
And this is a crazy situation out of Raleigh. Man, and now they're calling for an assault weapons ban. They're calling for all kinds of crazy things. This kid was 15 years old.
He had a shotgun.
He was 15. So this goes back to what I always say, parenting. We need to go back to parenting. You need to, as parents, you should know if your kid is capable of handling certain different things as parents. And the problem in all these different shootings, we go back and we look at the parents and we say, oh, there lies the problem. Bad parents. Look at how they're conducting themselves. Look at what they're saying. I look at the shooting in Uvalde, bad parenting all around. Mother's not there, father's not there, the kid's living with grandparents who are incapable of handling him, at their age, bad parenting. You go to all these different little shooting, cases here and you break it down and it always goes back to bad parenting. We always want to blame the tools instead of, really looking at what the situation is.
And if you don't mind me cutting in,
Yeah,
I
go
actually
for
do
it.
have like a solution for this. One thing I want to do in District 3 is that I want to create a program that's run by retired veterans, retired police officers, retired teachers, where all the kids that get in trouble in middle school and high school, instead of being suspended for 2 weeks, home alone, or being in a room by themselves in ISS for alone, create this program where these retired members, they take all these kids in, be like, hey, we're going to go and clean up the cities. We're going to, maybe clean up some homeless camps areas, and then give them some guidance counseling. Be like, hey, this is going to be your future if you don't fix it. So we need to bring the communities back and really train these kids, because a lot of these people, especially with the inflations, they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. Kids are by themselves mostly, especially with the breaking down the nuclear family. So I think it's better to have a lot of these retired veterans, retired teachers, create a program, bring all these kids in that are trouble, or people that are on parole. If you want to lessen your time, help clean up the street, and then you could go back to the school earlier, or get off parole already. That's one of the things I want to do to reduce a lot of these crimes.
I have a question.
Sure, go for it.
What do y'all think about? Well, number one is there's a general disregard for other people right now going on in the world. You know, rudeness, just general rudeness, and a disregard for human life.
Yes.
All right. What's the core reason behind that? Well, one of them, as you point out, Michael, is parenting, bad parenting, and now this kid gets into some kind of difficult situation. They're angry. They're frustrated. They don't know how to express themselves, so they do it violently. But what about this? Do you think that there's any blame to be placed on the makers of our video gaming that makes part of the process of winning the game blowing away dozens and dozens of people out there? Just what's the big one that everybody's plays?
Like Call of Duty or something?
Yeah, Call of Duty, those type of things. I think there's some responsibility that falls on that. What it does is it teaches you to do these mass assaults, and I wonder, of these kids that have had problems where there have been assaults, has there been an investigation into the background? Is this something that they did regularly? Is this where they learned to disregard human life to the level that they do? Or is it just that they see on the news that other people have done it and now they're copycats?
Well, I don't think video games like that are any different from what you'd see in movies in Hollywood,
Very good point.
Because if you're going to do a shooting because you played too much Call of Duty, then there's something already just wrong with you, If you can't discern a video game from reality, or you get your cues on how to navigate the world through a video game, then you got issues.
Yeah. But you make a good point, too, about movies. It's a general glorification of violence. And that to me is problematic. I don't know what the solution is. All I know is that it certainly contributes to the general disregard for human life that exists within our society. It's kind of a shame. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I play video games, shooting all the time out there. I used to be a troublemaker, but what saved me and all my friends is the community involvement. Going to church here. I mean, I'm Buddhist, but I go to church organization, civil patrol, Boy Scout activities, having some sort of like a father figure or mom figure or some kind of a guiding counselor saying, hey, these are just fun video games, but listen, in reality, this is what's going to happen. Boys got to be boys, girls got to be boys, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. You could do whatever you want to do, but learn that in reality, there's consequences if you do bad.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I want to take video games away. That's certainly not my intent. However, if you're going to take my gun away, then I'm taking your video game away. How's that? Fair is fair.
All right, so when we come back from the break, I want to go over some letters that I get in the mail. I'm talking snail mail, letters that actually get mailed to us from listeners and people that see us on the news and want to reach out to us and let us know that they're paying attention and they want to give us their response. I want to read those when we come back. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Brittany Glaze, and I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your vehicle at all times. Do not exit your vehicle, because the person who exits their vehicle is going to be looked at as the aggressor. If the other individual has exited their vehicle and they are not in contact with your vehicle and they do not have a weapon, then do not feel that you can display your weapon in an act of self-defense. People are allowed to just simply stand there and scream at you, scream whatever they want. Until they make a demonstrative effort to try to harm you, there is no immediate threat that would justify displaying or shooting or brandishing your firearm. Now, in the event that the person shows their own weapon, in particular a firearm, the existence of their weapon would give you reasonable belief that there was an immediate threat.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we have elections coming up soon. The early voting is going to start here very quickly, so you should get out there and early vote. Go online to your county's clerk's office and get a printout of what's going to be on the ballot so that you can educate yourself before you get to the poll, and then go out and vote that day. We have inside the studio General Bill Welch, District 5. General Welch, how can people find you?
You can reach me at billwelch.org, BILLWELCH.org. That's my website. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you'll be able to find my email is electgeneralwelch@gmail.com.
He's running for Austin City Council, District 5. Also, we have in the studio Esla Wishner. He's running for District 3, Austin City Council. How can we find you?
Yeah, my website is woouniversal.com, so it's spelled W-U-E, universal.com. I have a phone number in there. You can shoot me a text, give me a call. I have a lot of great ideas. Donation would be amazing, so I could get my voice out there more. So that's my website, woouniversal.com.
All right, so let's go over some of these letters here. I get different clippings in the mail.
I got mail. Yay! Yay! I got mail.
That sounds like you right there.
Does it really?
It really does. All right, so
That sounds like you.
No, it sounds like you. Really
He did that because of what you said. Reminded him of you for some reason.
All right. So
how come I don't get mail? How come it's just you?
You get letters, they're addressed to the radio show.
Okay.
We get letters in the mail.
What does the letter say?
Okay. Well, all right, here you go. I'll let you take a look at this one. Okay.
News article clipping.
This news article clipping. Okay, go ahead. What is it about?
Says MC. This article is so backwards, I wonder if the author really believes it. Thought you may want to read it.
All right, go
Great
ahead.
show, a regular listener.
All right, go ahead.
Hey,
read
this
it.
looks like your handwriting.
It is
Michael.
not my handwriting. Go ahead. Yes, I wrote it to myself. Shut up. Go ahead, read it.
It's about the migrants getting sent to New York.
Okay.
Governor Greg Abbott of Texas recently sent dozens of buses full of migrants to New York. The move comes in response to the increasing number of Central American families seeking asylum in the U.S. However, Abbott has made it clear that he does not believe these asylum seekers should be given refuge in Texas and is sending them to New York. Because New York is a sanctuary state.
That's
right.
right.
Or is New York City a sanctuary city? I can't
yeah.
remember. One of those. But they're basically saying, hey, if you're illegal, you can come here. and it's okay. We won't deport you or legally punish you in any way, right?
Right.
So Governor Abbott's decision has been criticized by many on both sides of the aisle. Some argue that Abbott is simply trying to score political points by sending these migrants to another state, while others feel that the governor is within his rights to send people away. The decision by Governor Abbott to send migrants who cross the southern border to New York instead of leaving them in Texas, where the climate and much of the culture are similar to Mexico, is a cruel act of hate. He has repeatedly shown that he does not care about the well-being of immigrants, but only about his political agenda. Sending these people to a cold, alien place like New York instead of a place where they can be comfortable and safe is nothing less than callous. Ooh, so the sanctuary city is unsafe in Texas. Or sanctuary city, so Texas is safe and comfortable. Yeah, I could agree with that. I've never even been to New York, but I would rather be here.
Oh boy, I don't think it's cold and callous, but
New York?
Yeah.
From everything I've heard, I haven't been there, but
it's cold and callous,
right? It's cold, and isn't it callous?
It's not a cold and callous move to send people there.
It's a cold and callous place.
Yeah, because I think that we're saying, look, we're bearing the brunt of this. We need to share this throughout the entire United States. Share this problem since there are people in New York having opinions about this. Well, you have opinions about this here. Let's share the problem. How much you help us out a little bit. Because we're using all our resources here in Texas, let's send them to New York and other places where you guys say you're a sanctuary city, so you obviously can handle, some of the problem as well.
That's easy to have an opinion about something that doesn't really affect you, right? It's easy to say,
Come on, man.
Will.
Yeah, I think you nail it with that right there. And that's what it was all about. It's not just about scoring political points. It's about sending a message to the rest of the country. There's a very, very serious issue going on here in Texas. We can't handle it alone, and you need to begin to recognize that it's a serious issue. And the best way to do that is to have you have to deal with it as well. I think that has something to do with it.
All right. So I'm going to let you read that next letter there that came.
You want me to read this one?
Yeah, go ahead and read that one. Next letter.
Mr. Cargill, my wife just bought a .22 rifle from Bass Pro Shop. They have their, quote, government forms on their computer. With 3 employees standing over her shoulder, it took 45 minutes for her to respond to nearly 50 required questions about her identity. All this was required even though she is a concealed carry permit holder previously vetted by the FBI. We have forfeited our rights as we, the people, to faceless bureaucrats who created these endless requirements and misconstrue legislation in ways never intended. These bureaucrats do not serve us. We serve them or else. When I asked for a copy of her completed forms, I was told it was illegal for them to give us a copy and that there was no way legally for Bass Pro Shops to provide a copy to her. I take that to mean that the bureaucrats do not intend to allow anyone to file a lawsuit and prove that their questions are beyond the legislation's requirements. I wonder if your organization will file a lawsuit to make the government at least provide copies of their onerous forms. I will certainly contribute to the cost of a lawsuit.
I would say for this person here, you should go to a mom and pop gun store. Mom and pop gun stores will give you copies of the 4473 that you're filling out. Because what you're talking about is going into a gun store and you're filling out a 4473, the firearms transaction record, and you're filling that out on the computer. They should be able to print a copy of what you just signed, because you signed and swore that the information that you put down was correct. And you need to be able to have a copy of what you filled out and keep a copy of that. There's no reason why you can't have a copy. This is a big box store, a major chain. They just don't want to give you a copy of the form that you filled out. So shop at your mom and pop stores, and they'll be happy to give you a copy of the form that you filled out. That's going to be my solution to that. All right. Now, the last letter. I got to say the hate mail for last. This last letter comes from the city of Killeen, Texas. All right, came from Killeen, and it says, "Dear sellers, If you are selling assault weapons and and this is a letter, by the way, a letter, handwritten letter, okay? You are selling assault weapons and high-capacity magazines to the public. You are, in all caps, selling to mass murderers. In all caps, it says, no civilians, law-abiding or not, should or need any assault weapon, in all caps, or high-capacity magazines, in all caps. Nor do they need, in all caps, to be stockpiling, in all caps, any guns or ammo. If you're selling to those who stockpile guns or ammo, you are selling to deranged individuals with the intent of mass shootings. Assault weapons are military-grade weapons designed for mass shootings, and so are high-capacity magazines. Even the Second Amendment requires regulation. It says a well-regulated militia, which simply means even the military is to be regulated. We are basically killing ourselves with the idiocracy that we must arm ourselves for protection against possible dangers and threats that more than likely don't exist. And if you are advertising the sale of these assault weapons, you are advertising to possible killers and mass murderers. Furthermore, if someone buys these assault weapons and high-capacity magazines from you, you should be held accountable for each and every one of the killings with these weapons. And this is from a person named Gene. I can't make out the last name, out of Killeen, Texas.
Really?
What do you say to that, Zach? I'll let you comment.
Yes, super fans, Michael. Assault weapons.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, the only thing I gotta say to that is like, what happened when the zombie apocalypse comes? Like, how am I gonna deal with all these zombies? Like, I need those. I mean, there's so many zombies might come up, you know.
Sound like this person writing your letter is a zombie. An assault weapon.
Oh my goodness.
So at the beginning of every class, I ask students, okay, this is an AR. What does AR stand for?
First answer is always
assault rifle.
Assault weapon.
Or
Assault
automatic rifle. Nope. Armalite rifle. It is not an assault rifle. It is not an automatic rifle. If you call it that, I'm not going to listen to whatever else you say afterwards.
So this letter we're going to burn because you don't even know what the rifle is called.
Just flush it.
That's right. As always, people, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.